everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of It's Our House podcast. You've got me, Fazza. We've got Mr. Dees. How you doing, buddy?
Hello. Yeah, mate. I'm amazing. Thank you.
Excellent. And we've got Lawson. How are you, pal?
I'm good. I'm even better than amazing. How are we doing?
Yeah. I'm not bad.
Fuck you then.
Someone's got to be better than that, haven't they? Hey. But before we proceed, we'll give a big shout to our sponsor, wrestlingpins.bigcartel.com. That's wrestlingpins.bigcartel.com. They've got pins like The Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Ultimate Warrior, and as you can see in the picture there, they've got much more merchandise than just the pins. So head over and add IOHPod15 for 15% off your order. That's IOHPod15 for 15% off your order. Well, today we're returning back to our Scottish roots for one of the best companies in the UK, and we've got the announcer of Insane Championship Wrestling. It is the legendary Simon Cassidy. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you very much. That's a hell of an introduction, to be fair.
I know, I'm coming for your job. That's what it is. How you doing, pal?
I'm very well, thank you, and thanks for having me on. Should be.
It's our pleasure. It's our pleasure.
You don't get to just sit and talk to folk about wrestling much anymore.
No.
Nothing's happening.
We do it every week.
That's true. That sounds like a lot of work as well. You know, so
you should see our DMs. It's nothing but arguments about when we're free and available. But yeah,
how you get on being back then, son?
Me?
Aye.
Yeah, not bad. It's bizarre, just in general, because everything is so different, and it's now all done in a very kind of compressed time frame with a bubble model and all the rest of it. And truth be told, a lot of it is done by voiceover now, so I'm not even physically in the building.
Yeah.
So
Billy was saying that he gets them pretty much from his booth, and he does a commentary from there now.
Yeah. So it's one of those things. I don't actually know if they've been on there yet, but I had to cover commentary for a couple of weeks with Billy, and we basically just had to like Zoom and screen share. But I won't say what match it is because they'll never forgive me. But the sound and the visual went completely out of sync on my end, and the match was just sort of going. So I just spent about 10 minutes just making vague, non-committal statements such as, "Oh, we've got a brawl on our hands here, Billy. Oh, these men leaving it all in the ring.
The match is already over."
Honestly, I have no idea what happened. And then all of a sudden, Billy just went, "It's over!" I was like, all right, cool.
Good.
But is it going to be like watching like a WWE 2K10 version of that match? Because like, you know, when Jerry the King and they were just like, it was the same thing they would say over and over again. Is that what it's like with you then?
I don't know. That would suggest there was an element of kind of skill or planning to it. This was just, I have no idea what is happening.
We have a Chris Kamara moment. I don't know what's quite going on here, Jeff.
That's exactly it. Exactly it. It's good to be back. It's just surreal.
It is surreal, especially at these times.
But it's good that you're back, though.
It is, and obviously it's going to go from strength to strength, and hopefully as the country and the everything that's going on improves, we can have you back touring again, so we can all get together and actually see it live. That's the goal.
I miss live shows and I miss touring so much.
I bet you do.
Simon, before I got in with these two, I had to kind of educate them what ICW really is, and they'll be the first to admit that.
Yep.
Exactly. Yep. That was my reaction as well. However, I have got two more followers now in regards to ICW, so you'll be happy to know that.
Yes.
Pushing it every day. Can't help himself. He wants a job. Correct. Look, he's even got a t-shirt on.
Aimless.
We discussed this. It was Billy the one that actually designed these t-shirts, he was saying, but the reason he doesn't really want to take much credit is in case they get sued, so that's okay.
That sounds about right. I used to have that t-shirt, and does this happen to anyone else? That you just lose items of clothing. You don't throw them away.
Yep.
You don't recycle them. You don't donate them. They just stop being in your life.
Are you living with your partner or wife for that just now?
No. So I have no one to blame but
myself. Really strange.
The washing machine.
No,
getting rid
normally it's my wife. Normally it's my wife who does it for me, but fair enough. It's a lot of my Rangers tops go flying away.
I mean, normally there's not really a mystery there, to be fair. Like, I can tell you exactly where they've gone.
Top of the league, son. That's what I'm saying.
Right. So, Simon, you're on because we want to get to know about you and obviously about your love for wrestling. We've all got our own origin stories about, the first wrestling pay-per-view or whatever we watched. Mine was the debut of Kane. So, what are your first memories of wrestling in general?
So, my first proper memory is my brother got WrestleMania out of Global Video, and it was Ultimate Warrior Hulk Hogan, and I just remember him being absolutely furious that I would have the audacity to want the Ultimate Warrior to win. But I didn't know what was going on. I just saw a guy who was multicolored with tassels and this loud music, and I was like, oh yeah, he's cool. And my brother was outraged, like legit, like hot at me about it. And bear in mind, I was like 4. This event, knowing what I know now, had happened many years in the past.
So the outcome was already known.
But I think that's the thing. Like, we didn't know the outcome, like, because we didn't have Sky. There wasn't the internet. Like, didn't really buy wrestling magazines. I was 4 and I couldn't read, so like that to me this was brand new. So that was kind of my first memory. The only other one that, funnily enough, I was thinking about this today, and there was something that I'd forgotten about, which was, I don't know if you guys have a Macro, but it was kind of like a kind of big wholesaler. It's like kind of like Costco.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm like, yeah. Makro. Yeah.
Yeah. That used to exist up here. And I remembered like my dad buying me a wrestling video and me being really excited to watch it and putting it on and not having a clue who anyone was. And with the benefit of hindsight, I now realise it must have been like an NWA or AWA DVD. But I just had no idea what was happening. I was like, where's The Undertaker? Why? Who's this guy? But I now realise like it was like Ric Flair and Vader and like guys who in years to come I now look back on and go, I'd quite like to watch that now. But at the time I was just like, is this? There is not a bushwhacker in sight.
I remember that when I was a kid. I went to my granddad. I went, Granddad, I really want a wrestling figure. And he's like, right, son, I'm going to get you a wrestling figure. I went, right, perfect. So he's away to the shops. And he's came back. Now, I'm pure WWF at the time, nothing else. Yeah. And he's came back with fucking Sting. And I'm like, who the fuck is this? You know what I mean? I'm like, no.
The knockoff version.
Aye. Getting the ones that didn't even move. You know what I mean? They're just like stationary. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, ah, shit.
I remember like my cousin had a bunch of WCW toys when we were kind of young. And the only reason I wanted them was because they came with a belt. And not many of the WWF ones did. No. Or at least not the ones I had anyway. So in my mind, that was real. Like, I need to get them. And then I think like mom and dad went and kind of got me them. And it came, and I barely touched them because they didn't move. Like, it's like, yeah, that's not a good toy. I just wanted this little bit of rubber.
Yeah, throw that one away. Keep hold of this, thanks.
I was like, remember, like, Ultimate Warrior was like, it would do that, and that was it, nothing else. And then, like, Hulk Hogan would do like that. Bushwhackers did that as well. That was,
And if you turned them the wrong way, they made a really unsettling clicking noise.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure collectors would shiver knowing you had the audacity to do that.
They go for much money by the way nowadays. I wish I kept them.
Mine don't.
Is it all broken with their arms just dangling down now?
The condition mine made it through, and not a one of them is worth a penny.
Anyone in Toy Story was watching it, they'd even shivering at Toy Story, you know what I mean? When they go to that, the Toy Story 3, when they go to like the kindergarten, all the kids are all like proper broken. Simon goes that way. It's wrestling figures like, oh no, I wouldn't put that. Oh no.
That's not a million miles away from how I used to play with wrestling figures. So I had the ring and the whole thing, and like elaborate scenarios and storylines that would be taking place. And I just remember this as like, you know, good fun, great memories. Apparently my mum and dad knew how much I loved it, so they couldn't shout at me for it. But apparently the noise that I created with these like. It drove them absolutely insane. They were like, you would have made less noise with what your drum kit. It was unbelievable. Like, I think a neighbour might have complained at one stage.
Did you used to get the music. You used to get the CD, put the music on, and then they get the theme tunes.
Yes.
And they like what doing that? Oh,
Aye.
fucking.
It was legendary.
Right, by the way, guys, just so you know, I'm away now. I'm going to play with my toys. All right. So, Simon, it was nice meeting you, mate. All right.
All I'm saying is, if society never told you that it was socially unacceptable to play with toys, you probably wouldn't ever have stopped.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Like
Chris, doesn't look behind Chris.
I know,
Look
yeah.
behind Chris.
that's a
He's got nothing but
I
a
never
single-
stopped. But my excuse is that this is my daughter's room. These are her toys.
Yeah, she doesn't touch them. She doesn't even like
Her
wrestling.
toys. No, she ain't allowed to touch them. Fuck off.
what he's not revealing is he doesn't have a daughter.
People are like, oh, when are we going to meet your daughter? Oh, she's busy. She's at school. It's Sunday. Oh, yeah.
Sunday school kills deeply, but they're faith.
They'll believe that with me, and anyway, put that way for a fact.
Right, Simon. So, what were your dreams growing up? Because obviously, we know you as commentator and ring announcer, but is that what you wanted to do or be in wrestling? Did you ever have aspirations to be a wrestler? We all did, to be fair.
Oh yeah. Truth be told, it was never actually something I ever even kind of fleetingly considered as a career option. The only point I really had any form of aspiration was when I was about 18. Myself, DCT, and two of our other friends discovered Area 52, which was the Scottish Wrestling Alliance's training school at the time. So I think between timescales varied depending who you ask, but between 3 and 6 months, we went to kind of weekly training classes, and for a wee while it seemed like, yeah, I'm going to be a wrestler. This is it. I'm going to make it. Then I took a back body drop, hurt my back a little bit, like not bad, but like a couple of weeks was quite sore. Went back, did it again, and then just went, do you know what? No. there's not really a kind of
That hot water bottle's not for me.
yeah, it was literally just went, no, this is not the career for me. But even at that time, so I was doing journalism and creative writing at uni. So in my head, I was kind of thinking at the time, yeah, if I learn to wrestle and get involved in the scene, I'll be the head writer for Monday Night Raw. Like, to me, that was the logical career progression.
It's definitely the right step, isn't it?
Yeah.
Please.
You did a better job than what it is now.
Yeah.
Couldn't possibly comment.
That's what you're here for, to comment.
But even at that time, I had always kind of thought I would like to be a talker or a manager, that kind of role. And I'd actually done quite a bit of like hosting like talent shows and little gigs, and I did quite a lot of like student radio and doing podcasts. So being a kind of announcer, commentator, something with a microphone always seemed like a kind of more attainable goal. But truth be told, I kind of fell into it. Because I kind of been away for a while, and then myself and DCT started. It was a few years later. We started at WrestleShark.com, which because we kind of thought there wasn't really a place for like Scottish wrestling to like share their news, and there wasn't really a place to kind of keep up to date with everything. There was like a scattering of like the companies all had their websites and social media, and we were like, well, there's a gap in the market there, so let's kind of do something with it. So we reached out to all the kind of all the various companies, and everyone was really accommodating, because the thing is, nobody else was doing it at that point in time. Like now, not a big podcast, but everybody's got a podcast now. But when we did it, like nobody else was really doing it. So we got like proper press accreditation. Like we got invited backstage to shows. We got brought along, but like we were able to get talent for interviews like that. It wasn't a problem. So we kind of did that for a while and started becoming a bit better known in the scene. And eventually we went to WrestleMania over in Orlando, Rock Cena. And while we were there, 28.
Yeah.
28, I think. That's shocking. I can't remember the number. I think it was 28.
That was the Hell in a Cell Triple H one.
Hell in a Cell. What a year to go, by the way.
I think that was one of the best WrestleManias ever, by the way. I genuinely 1730, and I think it was 27. We'll go 27. They were the best for me.
Worryingly, I think I've got the DVD behind me somewhere, but I'm far too lazy to turn it. Oh, 28.
Yeah, 28.
28?
Yeah,
Oh, my bad.
But
28 was great, though.
Yeah,
27
28
was
is fourth
shit.
best pay-per-view.
27 was shit when I think of it, because that was the Miz.
But no, anyway, so while we were over, D randomly decided that he was going to go back to wrestling training. Because ironically, he actually stopped going to training before I did. Like, he decided it wasn't for him. I lasted like another month, and then I stopped. He just decided, nah, this is ironically looking back now, like he was, nah, this isn't a career for me. I'm not. Vince McMahon's never going to sign me. I'm done. And then while we were over in WrestleMania, he decided he wanted to do it again. So we get back to Scotland, and the following weekend he went back to training. As it turned out, so it was Damo or Killian Dane that was the kind of head trainer at the time. He basically went back to training and was told, everything you were taught before was wrong. You're beginning from scratch. Which makes a lot of sense. But so he kind of got into that and was kind of progressing quite quickly. And it was literally it was meant to be his debut match. He was going to be part of a tag team with Adam Carell, now director of ICW. But at the time he was the Muay Thai guy, Adam Carell. And DCT was doing a kind of journalism gimmick when he had like a mustache and all the rest of it. So they were Muay Thai, and that was going to be their debut. And I literally got a phone call off him saying, by the way, we needed an announcer for the weekend. Do you fancy it? Anyway, I went, I've never done that. And he went, yeah, it's fine, phone demo. So I phoned demo, and he basically offered me the gig over the phone and said, yeah, we'll see how it goes. And that was 8 years ago, and here we are.
Here we are in the middle of a global pandemic.
Yeah. How times change.
I love watching that, because I remember, I can't remember, everyone knows, well, hopefully, most people know that I'm a massive ICW fan. And I remember it would have been, what, two years ago now, where you did that show with, fuck you too, with Lionheart, God rest his soul, and Jack Jester as the coaches. And you had
Rogue to Wrestler.
Rogue to Wrestler, that was it.
Yeah.
I loved that show, but I love watching people who, and no disrespect to what they were, but they were the ones that thought they could be the wrestler, and there were a few of them were just like, nope, not having this at all. And they'll get up to the top turnbuckle and that, and they're like, nope, not going down on this one at all. And you can see Lionheart and Jack Jester getting proper frustrated. But they were obviously trying their hardest as well to coach them.
Yeah.
But I love watching that stuff, man.
Yeah. I think for me, the thing with like a lot of training is there's no shame in quitting. Like, and that sounds silly, but there's no shame in doing it for a while and then going, do you know what? This isn't for me. I gave it a try. I think to a large part there is a kind of frustration with people who they keep going and they're kind of half-hearted with it.
Yeah.
So like they keep insisting, I can do this, but they don't really progress and they don't put in the work, but they still go once every few weeks. They kind of try it, they dip their toe in and out, and you'll constantly see in social media like, oh yeah, I can't wait to get back to training. It's like nothing's stopping you going now.
Exactly.
You're just choosing not to. So it's like there's an awful lot of people, and this isn't to bury trainees, like, but there are a lot of people that it's just not for you. And I think that came across in Rogue to Wrestler, and the kind of positive of that being such an accelerated process is it was weeded out very quickly.
Yeah.
It was just nope.
It was more the ones. It was more the ones that are like, oh, I could do this, and they bother, and you're thinking that, and you're like, you really? I mean, I've never done this in training at all, but I would know for a fact. I've spoke to a few people before. It is solid. It's very, very hard and very, very intense. But they're kind of treating it as like a gym session. You're like, it's a bit more than that, pal. You know, and it's them they're the ones who are the ones that quickly realise, go, oh shit, maybe it's not quite what I thought it was going to be. And they're the ones I like to see.
Yeah, the first time I took a bump, I went down and just rattled my head right off the canvas. And you would think you would go, right, lesson learned, like keep it tucked. I just consistently did that for like 3 weeks. And it was agony. Like it got to the stage like the guy training us went, you're really going to need to stop that, or I'm going to have to stop you doing this. Because like it's hard and it's painful. And yeah, I just don't think an awful lot of people realise that before they get into it. Like,
no, definitely.
They think it's all padded than that as well. They all think it's padded when it's not quite even close to that. So moving on, you're now in ICW. Now, I've never had the fortune to meet or speak to Mark Dallas, but I've heard a few stories about him, how he has these visions, and everyone thinks they're shite, and in reality, there's in hindsight, there's a lot of actual merit in what he was saying. What was you started? You said probably 6-8 years ago when you first started with ICW. So you would have been kind of at the beginning of it in regards to media wise, because I think it was 2012 was kind of when it first started coming up. And being,
so it had been going for a while.
In regards to like mainstream audience.
Yeah. So truth be told, I kind of joined quite well timed. It was just as it was really starting to blow up. Just like for context, the first show I ring announced for them, for a start, I'd only actually been ring announcing for about 6 months. It was a very swift learning curve.
So really, we've got to thank you about it then. Is that what you're trying to say?
What was that?
We've really got to thank you for the boom of ICW, because when you turned up, it skyrocketed.
Look, I'm not saying it's all thanks to me, but
Simon, every guest he has from ICW, he's got that sentence saved.
but no, so the first show I'd been doing a kind of backstage interview thing for them for a little while. I say a little while. I think it was like 3 shows. It didn't last long. Basically, I was a worse Veronica and Jen Louise. A worse and much less welcome.
Okay.
I can't imagine why.
Not possibly imagining what that could possibly be.
But to be fair, for a start, I wasn't good at it. Like, they've got a kind of ease and grace about it, and it kind of comes naturally, whereas I was just kind of, hello.
Guys, beating that either Simon with the microphone. Hiya!
But so I'd been doing that for a couple of shows, and then there was the ring announcer at the time was pregnant, and she was having to go off maternity leave, and they kind of went, right, so for one show we're gonna do an angle where she gets attacked or gets threatened and she goes away and you have to come out and fill in. So it was literally meant to be a one night fill in thing, and there was another ring announcer that used to do it that was meant to be coming back. So the first show I did, I believe there was about 700 people in the crowd, and the first match I announced was Sumerian Death Squad. So Tommy End, Alistair Black, and Michael Dante versus the Bucky Boys for the tag team titles. So that was a bit of a baptism by fire.
A little bit.
And two matches later was Finn Balor versus BT Gunn. And I think the main event was like a title change as well. So it was like...
landed on your feet, basically.
Pretty much. And for, like, before that, I'd been doing like kind of local family shows and things. Like nothing major. Like they were great shows. But there wasn't the same production. There wasn't the same kind of crowd. It was totally different. Like, I was used to kids going, yay, boo! As opposed to, like, I got in the ring and it was, who the f-? I'm just trying to do my job. But, yeah, so that was kind of when I joined, and that was when it really kind of took off. Or it was already, like, mid-boom. And I just timed it very well. So I think like 3 months later was the first show they did in the Edinburgh Picture House, which was like 1,000+ people, which was huge. But I remember like 3 days after that show, I literally got a message off Dallas saying, I was in work, so I hadn't seen it at first, and it was just 3 separate Facebook messages, and it was, you're my new announcer, you sexy bastard, buy a suit. I was like,
it's a good way to get a job, isn't it?
I've had worse job offers.
Did they give you visions though? Did they say we're going to be here or we're going to be there? Because is it Grado, Billy, and Casey kind of have all said that they've been said, and they're like, Grado especially was like, I wear Mark, there you go, pal. Whereas in hindsight, it actually came true what he said was going to happen.
So at that point, the kind of Dallas vision that was being sold to everyone was, we're going to sell out the Barrowlands. I'm telling you, ICW is going to take over the Barrowlands, and you're like, okay. Sure, this time next year we'll be millionaires. And I think 6 months later we sold out the Barrowlands.
Yeah.
One great idea said, yeah.
And then it was we're going to do the SEC. We're going to do the SEC over the biggest show in Europe. It's like, so the Barrowlands, like, I think at that time it was like 2,000 people, and we're now talking about like 4,000. Sure. Totally. Absolutely. A year later, not even a year later, SEC sold out. Biggest show in like 30 years.
Gonna get
And
fucking
then,
different.
and then that night, like people have said this to Dallas. Like he was saying, we're going to do the Hydro. We're doing the Hydro. We're doing the Hydro. And I remember, I won't name him in case he doesn't want to be named in the story, but myself and a member of the ICW team went to see, in fact, I'll say him out, it was Scott Reed. We went to see UFC in the Hydro, and it was sold out. And I remember the two of us sitting going, I'm not being funny, ICW's never doing this.
That was UFC's first show in Scotland, I believe. That time.
Yeah. So we were sitting in the Hydro up in the nosebleeds, looking around going, it would be amazing, but there's no chance Dallas is ever pulling this off. Like, ICW is never doing this. And then within a year, 6,000 people crap in the Hydro. It's like unbelievable stuff. Like, at a certain point, you learn to stop doubting them and just kind of enjoy the ride.
Got to, haven't you?
Aye.
It's funny. I mean, it's funny when you actually look at where Dallas came from to where it is now. Because I remember watching Insane Fight Club on BBC, the documentary then, and he was talking about how he was in the council house. He was pretty much in with his wife and kid at the time, and like he was pretty much scraping the barrel to make sure that he could put on an event. And then now looking at it now, I mean, we're on the networks. We'll come to later on, and selling out the Hydro and everything that has been done with ICW is incredible. I mean, I know the guys get fed up with me talking about it and that, but it generally, I don't know if it's a company because of being Scottish, but I've been to the shows like Tram Spotting and the time ones you had when you were in the City nightclub and that, and they're different. They're just unique. You're unique, and it's incredible to see.
And I think that's the thing. I don't think without Dallas you wouldn't have ICW, obviously, but I don't even think anyone else would approach it the way he did. So for example, like there's lots of promoters in the UK, but I think an awful lot of people would have, when they got to like the old story of like Mary Hill Community Hall, I think an awful lot of people would have like sold out consistently and stayed there for a prolonged run, and then maybe looked at doing the garage, and then maybe looked, and it would have over the course of years. Whereas the second it took off in Mary Hill, the way his brain works and the way the roster around him works, it was cool. If we did that, we can do that.
Yeah, you've got to ride the momentum of it, haven't you?
Yeah.
It's the only way you're going to do it. So obviously, you're talking about how it first started to where it is now. We can see the improvements, with the setup, the production, commentary team, yourself. What was it like going from what it was then to how, as you said at the start, how professional it is now in terms of, the bubble you're in and the things you need to work?
So truth be told, I never really got to see the kind of raw, gritty version of it. I never really got the whole Mary Hill experience, for lack of a better term. Even when I first started going to shows, it was in the garage, so they already had the kind of benefit of like nightclubs have good lighting, nightclubs have a good layout. The main difference was at that time it was literally just a curtain separating backstage from the ring, and commentary was just a wee table at the side, and it was kind of fairly quickly after that kind of Duncan Gray, who's like the kind of a man behind the scenes that is seldom seen. If you see Dunk, something's probably gone horribly wrong and he has to fix it. But he / Triple G kind of partnered up with ICW, and that was when the kind of production side of things really went to the next level. And it's just been a kind of steady build since then. Like I would fairly comfortably argue, I don't think there's another indie on the planet can hold a candle to ICW's production.
No, definitely.
In fact, I don't think an awful lot of non-indie promotions really hold a candle to ICW's production.
I don't like calling ICW indie promotion because I feel they should be treated in the same category because of what you're saying with the production and everything they have around it. They are just that one step beyond everything else.
Yeah, and I don't really know what qualifies as an indie anymore.
Yeah, I think that's gone now, hasn't it? In terms of how many companies there are.
Yeah, indie, if it's just by definition an independent company. Yeah. Well then, everything's an indie except WWE.
Exactly.
So I'm not really sure what that means, but I think production-wise, I think we're head and shoulders above so many other places. Which is it's great to be part of, to be honest.
It is. I bet it is, from what it was to what it is now, especially.
Yeah, I think especially kind of what you're seeing them pull off with the kind of closed door, COVID safe tapings. If that was any other promotion, it would look, feel, and sound dreadful.
Yeah,
and that's not having a go, but it's just they don't have that existing setup to make it look legit.
Yeah.
I think sorry, I was the only company I can think of that do that now would be Ring of Honor, AEW, WWE, and Impact, and ICW, which just shows. I mean, New Japan do it as well, but I'm talking about in mainstream television. It just shows how high up it is in production value.
I mean, obviously, I won't specifically name the company for not wanting to burn any bridges, but there's at least 2 companies in that list that I think we have better production than. So I'll leave it there. But,
God damn it, we need clickbaitable. Tell us.
Absolutely not.
I think we can guess.
I've
said I've said that before.
You think you're better than the Thunderdome? Is that what it is?
The Thunderdome is so cool.
It is cool. It is pretty cool.
To be fair, the pandemic, that is. I mean, have you been in the Thunderdome?
I've not actually, no.
It's quite funny to be in there because like I had it on. I was on a SmackDown one. Never seen myself, but I was on it. And like you've got on the computer like we are just now, and then you've got on the TV there, and then like you're constantly getting in your ear the guys like, right, move, or you're going to be on telly in 3, 2, 1, and you've got to like start cheering and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And in the corner,
That's
in the
weird.
corner down here, you've got like a wee picture of yourself so you can see it, and there's like an outline of a person so you can see kind of how you are in the camera. But you're always like 2 seconds ahead of actual telly, so I don't know if that's to stop.
Wow.
It was really weird. I did it for a Raw one time, and we had fucking Lucha House Party just like there with us, just chatting along, trying to keep everyone's spirits up. It was very, very surreal. Very surreal.
I think it's one of the things that kind of does set WWE apart from everywhere else. It's who would even think of that? Like, how do you go from? Because realistically, the closed door tapings with a fake crowd were working fine. Like they were quite good.
Yeah.
I'm just never sure how they go from that to we're going to turn an arena into the biggest Zoom call you have ever seen in your life. With like it reminds me of the kind of Bender line from Futurama. It's like, fine, we'll make our own crowd. Fireworks and swords. It's like it's unbelievable.
I personally think NXT looks cool.
Yeah,
personally.
I like NXT.
Yeah,
NXT, I think it's cool.
It's got the mix, hasn't it? And they've got the little pods that they're all separated in.
I always remember Billy Kirkwood saying that's how he visions now comedy gigs going forward. Is there'll be 50 people that want to be there, and then the rest will be through a Zoom call or something like that. That's how he visions comedy gigs going forward. After this is all finished.
Sounds horrifying.
It does.
Well,
I don't like it.
So.
The very concept of never getting a crowd back. Horrifying.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah. Well, at WWE are going to be doing it, aren't they, with 25,000 each night on Mania, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, that being said, UFC had a small crowd there last night. So maybe we're closer than I think we are.
Well, it's America, isn't it? They don't really care.
That was Saudi Arabia.
Especially Florida. Florida doesn't care.
That was Saudi Arabia last night with McGregor.
What was that?
Saudi Arabia fought with McGregor.
Abu Dhabi.
Aye, okay. Well,
yeah. But I don't really know how it works. I think to go to the show, you physically had to quarantine for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
You did,
yeah. I think they were
mad, isn't it?
Really strict about it. So fair play if it works.
Aye, fair play. If it works, aye. That's exactly right.
Yeah. So we're talking about big crowds and big events. We touched on the SSC at the Hydro. Biggest indie show in Europe at the time. I mean, since then, obviously, we've had like All In, which I guess was a pretty big indie show. But
that was in Chicago.
What was it?
It's still the biggest in Europe, to be fair.
That's All In was in Chicago.
Nobody's touched that record yet.
Oh shit! Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Get the goal.
I got kicked out of geography.
Wrestling expert.
I got kicked out of geography. Kicked out of geography in like year 8. Right. Fuck's sake.
That again.
Yeah, so that was a good event, wasn't it? Yeah, great. Let's talk about
that.
What was it like? Obviously, it must have been nerve-wracking, but what was it like really genuinely, like, getting ready for that, did you feel any pressure? Was there much pressure on you from ICW to make this a big success, or was it just exciting to be a part of it? Because obviously you said you were there yourself as a UFC fan, and you couldn't believe that it was going to happen. So what was it like when it actually did happen?
So I think for SEC, for example, was nerve-wracking, just because it was on a scale unlike anything any of us had really experienced. And there was just that kind of sense of, we all did this together. Like, this was, it was a real team at that kind of moment in time. It was like, no, we did this. We have built it, and they will come. And then by the time we got to Hydro, that was still there. There was almost a sense of, there was no pressure on anyone, because I think everyone just had faith at that point that everyone would go out there and deliver.
Yeah.
Like, everyone would go out there and do their jobs. Truth be told, I didn't enjoy SEC or any of the 3 Hydro shows until they were finished. Because you're constantly trying to think, right, what's happening next? Am I meant to remember something here? Is there a queue? Is there a blah, blah, right? Are we taking a break? I don't remember. Is there a break? Somebody find out if there's a break. No, there's no break. Right, cool, we're just straight in. And it's not until it physically finishes you can go, well, that was cool. But no, it was unbelievable. Like, to have done the Hydro 3 times is ridiculous. You never know. Maybe we'll get back there someday.
I think it's. I mean, I think Billy said, didn't he, that one of the things he struggles with is living in the moment, and he's actually there. I mean, is that what it was like? Because you're always thinking about the next thing to get it right. So it's not until after.
The most stressful moment of the first Hydro was, they decided, I think something had ran long, or there was a technical issue, so they cut the interval. But Kurt Angle hadn't arrived, or I hadn't been able to catch him until I was out at the ring. And obviously he was in the main event. So my plan all along had been, interval, go back, get his intro, introduce myself to him, we'll be good. And then I kind of remember ring crew came over and went, there's no break. Anyway, just straight into the next match after they get the. So I think it was Wolfgang and Trent were in the cage at that moment in time. And I was like, we're just going to get the cage up as quick as possible and just straight into the next match. And I went, right, I need you to go and find Kurt Angle. And I feel bad because, 1, I still don't actually remember who it was because it was a blur. But 2, it was just some poor member of ring crew who I think was a trainee at the time. And I went, you need to go and find Kurt Angle. I was like, a what? Right. It's like, you need to go and find Kurt Angle and find out what he wants in his introduction. Anyway, so what would usually, like what? And I went, what's usually in a ring introduction? I went, hometown, aliases, weight, anything. Go and ask him. I'm sure he knows. Anyway, right, okay. So bear in mind, there's 6,000 people currently watching this. And he scuttles away, gets halfway up the ramp, and then comes running back and goes, "Where's what room's Kurt Angle in?" And I went, "I would imagine the one that says Kurt Angle on it." And this guy and like bolted off, and then I felt that bad because he came back and just went, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the Olympic gold medalist. You know the way I went, well, yeah, that makes sense. with the benefit of 5 minutes of hindsight. Yeah,
look at the positive. That guy got to speak to Kurt Angle if it wasn't for you.
Exactly. I did him a favour.
You did. You really did. Right, so before we proceed, we need to give another shout out to our sponsor. That's wrestlingpins.bigcartel.com. WRASSLIN pins.bigcartel.com. They have pins and merchandise such as Bret Hart, The Undertaker, Ultimate Warrior, and many, 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 many more. Just head on over and put the promo code IOHPOD15 in for 15% off your order. That's IOHPOD15 for 15% off your order. That's www.wrestlingpins.bigcartel.com.
Perfect.
That's smashing book, by the way.
I didn't even write that down. I just did that on myself.
The boys from Edinburgh, by the way, as well, Simon. He's actually really, really good. Genuinely really good. Like, they are really good quality stuff. So,
Yeah, the Scottish company.
Yeah, good boy. Yeah, good boy.
That's all right. I've got you.
So, ICW, we've had Billy Kirkwood on, and he was a fantastic guest, and he was discussing a certain championship that you have been a member of, the Monya Cunt Champion. So I genuinely think that's a fantastic thing, by the way. So we've heard from Billy. It was his ideas, his brainwave. It was kind of a run on the hardcore championship from the old Crash Holidays and that. Yeah. Tell us, what was it like? It must have been fun. Like, what was involved? Some stories about being a Monya Cunt champion. They must have had the belt above the heat and that, no?
So, do you know, like, my memory is now foggy that I don't actually remember the first time it became a thing.
I think, okay. I think you were going to say first time was a champion.
There was definitely an ICW show that he just arrived with it. And decided that anyone could hold it as long as you weren't a wrestler. So it was any non-wrestling member of staff was eligible for the Monya Championship. So I think Sean McLaughlin has held it a few times. Billy always managed to reclaim it. And then we did there was a one fall session, which was kind of like, I don't know if you guys are familiar, it was like kind of live talk show that I was kind of hosting in a world pre-pandemic, that Billy was on, and he brought it with him, and I think it changed hands 5 or 6 times throughout the course of the show. And there's a picture of me sitting with it over my shoulder, and I don't remember when I lost it. I just know I did, because it was that kind of mildly controlled chaos of this is mine now. Oh wait, no, it's not. But my favourite memory is there was a show that Billy went, I need to win that back. I was like, why? He went, because it's mine. like the belt is my property, so I need to win that back.
How dare you?
It's not a gift to someone. But I believe, and we never really got to do it, but I believe his ultimate goal was he wanted me to win it at Fear and Loathing.
Yeah, he said that.
But sadly, the world ended, and we never.
I was meant to be that one in November. You were planning. I planned or something.
It was, yeah.
There was a kind of loose plan that it was either going to be start the show or intermission. I was to win the belt, but then probably lose it at some point through the course.
Straight away.
He said he's put you over a few times because did you know eliminate him for the Rumble or something?
Oh, there was a non-wrestler. In fact, was that for the Monya? No, I think that was just we'd had a mini and I there was a whole thing. It was like having a member of our ring crew. We're gonna like fight over to the ropes and like try and it was like it'd be really funny if you just chucked us over. Like did the Shawn Michaels did that, jumped up the ropes, celebrating, then did the pose, and then kind of went like I think it was halfway into doing the Shawn Michaels pose before going, this is quite a tight suit. So that kind of went wrong because trousers have burst on shows before. I remember there was one of Lionheart was doing a show, like Pro Wrestling Elite through an air, and I went to it and opened the show and then sat down, and the chair that I had at the table had 2 screws sticking out the back of it. Like I think there used to be a cushion or something on it, and I sat down and went, oh yeah, and like pulled forward and just down the back of my trousers, just ripped, and didn't have a spare pair. So I was fortunate that the setup of PW tended to be like the entranceway was there, and the crowd were like on 3 sides. So I just had to do the entire show like walking sideways and like going in the ring only from direct angles. Like listen, if anybody wants to be a ring announcer or a commentator, always bring a spare pair of trousers. Always. But so what winning the Rumble and doing a pose was a risky move, but what's that?
What's that? Of course it was the worst. It's memories. You know what I mean? You can't change that.
I'm saying I've got no idea who the current champion is. I'm assuming Billy.
I think it is Billy. I think he mentioned it was him. I want to say
He didn't mention anyone else who had it, did he?
I think it's Billy.
We'll put this
Aye.
tweet out and we'll get Billy to find. We'll get Billy to answer.
Aye.
The question. I'm sure it is.
Not that I'm still thinking about it. Not that I'm still.
He's coming
It's
for
good that you. It's good that you're not bitter about it. Though. That's the main thing. You know what I mean? It's not,
Good that I've moved on. It's mine.
we know what's going to happen the next time you all meet up. You're going to be winning the Money Cunt champion.
From a 2 meter distance.
Yeah.
Can you win it via Zoom?
You might have to.
There's only one way to find out. So ICW's had many highlights, and I've discussed them over the space of a few interviews we've had with previous guests. What for you? I mean, I know for a fact what my two are, the ones that always come to my head, as you say, but for you, it'd be a lot different because you're involved in the actual moment. Is there anything that really stands out for you to say this has been, these are like the moments that you'll never forget, and at the time you're thinking, this is unbelievable?
I think obviously there's like being the first guy to walk out of the Hydro in the SEC, like you'll never forget that, because that's something that in my wildest dreams I never thought I would do that. Like in a lot of ways, when I started announcing, I went into it with the knowledge of, yeah, but you're Scottish, so they're never going to sign you. I think it was Jackie Polo who gave the very cutting rebuke of, listen, even if somebody over in Stanford watched a video of you and went, that guy's incredible, they're not going to pay for a visa. They're not going to get they're going to find someone that sounds vaguely similar, show them a tape of you and go,
like him.
That's what we're looking for. Can you do that? So in my head, like arenas were never an option. Like the Hydro was out of bounds. So to actually, for me, it was always just going to be a hobby. It was just going to be something fun to do. So to kind of see that transformation and then to be in the Hydro, to be touring the country, to get into a stage where people are making a kind of full-time living off it. And even I was able to kind of expand and do like kind of the one call sections and like various different shows and things like those things are kind of unreal, and you can't kind of succinct that to one memory. It's just an unbelievable journey. Yeah. I think in terms of individual moments, I would always go, I remember Dave's Not Here Man, which was the show we did in Edinburgh, which was the first match was Grado versus Colt Cabana, and the main event was Jack Jester and Sabu. And it was when Sabu was going through as if it stopped. But it was going through a bit of a period of like not showing up to events.
I was gonna say that was from the 90s onwards, wasn't
it? Some of the Sabu stories, by the way, Jesus. So he hadn't arrived at the venue when I went out to start the show. It was running late, and there was a genuine sense in the crowd of, okay, this is 1,000 people. This is unbelievable. Like, never done this before. What a night. But there was a mild undercurrent of, is Sabu going to show? Like, is he here? Because like 2 days previously, like something had leaked in the dirt sheets, and it was like him in an absolute state passed out in a hotel room, and people were like, it's not going to happen, is it? Something's going to go terribly wrong. Like, I think contingencies were in place that someone else was getting ready to come out and work Jester if the worst should happen. And I'll never forget, like, when the first kind of chord of his music hit and the place went absolutely nuts, like, there was a genuine sense of, this is something special. Like, a lot of people talk about the first time sold out the ABC or first time sold out kind of the Barrowlands and like everything after kind of Insane Fight Club. For me, I feel like that was the moment that you went, this is going to be something big, because this is unbelievable. But I think from a kind of personal point of view, announcing DCT as the world champion, I was nearly crying, because for context, me and him have been best friends since we were like 13. So to go from like going to school together, training in my terms,
all over together.
Like website, to then like he was like with Polar Promotions and kind of trying to find his feet, kind of struggling to find his way a bit, to then getting into a groove, to then being world heavyweight champion was unreal. So I think from a kind of personal standpoint, they're the two moments I would always say I'll never forget them.
I think with Sabu as well, that was kind of the start of the big names coming over from America to ICW, Colt Cabana as well.
Yeah.
Probably the first as well. But then you started getting like your Rhinos, and then obviously moving on to your Kurt Angles, Kevin Nash's, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think a big part of it was there was a definite buzz around it that people were starting to realise that we were drawing these crowds without an import.
Yeah.
So I could be speaking out of turn, but I get an impression like people want to work for companies that don't necessarily need them.
Yeah.
They want to work for a company that they know it's going to be a good show. They know it's going to be a good crowd. They know it's going to be a big draw. Whereas, yeah, you'll come over and you'll get a good wage for a kind of family show somewhere or X, Y, Z. But the ones they actively seek out are the ones that they know are going to get the most eyes on them. And I think that kind of time was when the world kind of started looking at ICW. And then obviously Drew Galloway came back and
that's my one. That
yeah.
For me, it was Drew Galloway and Triple H arriving in Cardiff. They were the two that stand out for me.
So we found out Triple H was arriving just before the interval.
Right.
I believe so.
He done that the whole time because it was because I remember it was why can't I remember his fucking name right now? We just spoke about him. Dallas. Why the fuck did I remember that? It was Dallas. It was Dallas and Pete Dunne in the centre of the ring talking, and then Dallas went, "Well, I've got friends in high places," and then bang,
yeah,
that happened. But anyway,
so basically WWE were in the same town.
Mm-hmm. But then we were into it.
Yeah, we were actually running slightly earlier in the day to try and avoid clashing with WWE. And well, the kind of cat's out the bag now, but there has been a working relationship with the organisation for some time.
No.
Have they?
Remember that?
That's brand new information.
But that was kind of when it was still in the, like, I believe things were still being figured out and no one was exactly sure what the kind of format was going to take. Was it just a kind of like tape sharing deal, or were we going to get some talent? Or other people probably knew, but I didn't. And literally, I think it was match 3. Thomas Kearns came out and just like for the match and just went, Triple H is coming. And I went, what? Anyway, Triple H is coming. He's coming to see the show. I was like, when? Anyway, don't know. Could be here now. And then literally backstage at interval, and Triple H just walked in. And it was a mildly surreal moment when it was Simon, come here. Right, so Triple H is going to come out. So I need you to introduce me, and kind of Triple H kind of going, yeah. So Dallas will come out, Pete will come out. You just do your thing, get out of the ring, then that'll be me coming out, and just kind of going,
yes, sir.
Literally whatever you want. Just no. So that was unbelievable. The only downside that was, I believe it was me and Billy were traveling back together, and we had to leave like immediately after the show. So you kind of went from that like dizzy and high to this is a really long drive. Says the man who wasn't driving. I can't really complain too much.
Because that was like, I mean, I think those two ones that I mentioned, Drew and Triple H, in this day and age, to have a surprise at that level is near enough impossible.
Yeah.
And those two scenarios, that was exactly what it was. And it just totally, I remember the whole internet was just like, everything was ICW for a moment because it was like Triple H arrived at ICW.
Well, there was the one I remember was pulling off as well that was fairly unbelievable. We got Prince Devitt.
Oh, yeah.
Finn Balor. And it was the proper, like, lights off, lights on, and he was in the ring in the ABC, and nobody knew he was coming. Well, obviously, people on the show did, but, like, it hadn't leaked anywhere. And then you kind of go, right, pulled that off once. But then he was at the next garage show, and no one knew then either. Like, but yeah, I think it was one of those things, like, during that kind of really hot period, when you kind of weren't trying to sell tickets as much because you knew it was going to sell out to a certain degree, they pulled off some great stuff. I think they pulled off Surprise Hardcore Holly as well. I think he was at a garage show, and if I remember right, they didn't announce him. He just came out. He just came out.
I was walking, thought I'd pop in, see what's going on.
But no, some of the stuff was amazing.
As you mentioned there, obviously you've got Triple H, Finn Balor. So what's it like now, knowing that the company and yourself are on probably the biggest wrestling network in the world?
It's absolutely unbelievable. Like it still doesn't really sink in that it's actually a thing. Like
Crazy, isn't it?
Like every Saturday you watch this. What was that? Sorry.
Did you have the network before ICW came onto it?
Oh yeah. What I watch?
I just think that'd be crazy as fuck, man. You're paying $9.99 for this, and then all of a sudden there's yourself.
The logo just pops on. Hello.
As Grado would say, it's yourself.
Do you know, it was one of those things like we had kind of known it was that because it had kind of been in the works for a few years. Like there was an unbelievable amount of work went on backstage among kind of like, you know, obviously Dallas, Dunk, Adam Carell, Scott Reed, kind of like work, and others who I've probably forgot to name. But for a couple, they were kind of working like tirelessly to basically go through the entire back catalogue ICW and bring it up to WWE spec. Because it's things that were never filmed with the intention of going on WWE Network. So like they had to be like editing, cut in a certain way. They had to be in a certain aspect ratio. You had to go through and list everyone that was on every single show, so that they can do the asset tag for it. So like over the course of years, they were doing that. Wow. And it did kind of get to the stage that we're going, are we ever actually going on it, or are we like do we know? And the kind of answer was constantly, no, really. Like we don't know. Like the answer tends to be, yeah, we'll definitely go on it. I don't know when, but we'll definitely get on it. And then
2 years I was talking about going on it. It was about 2-3 years. I remember we talked about my mates and that. I was like, I think it started with like August. It was kind of announced then, August, September.
It would have been, yeah.
And I was like, I think it was just before that. We're like, oh, by the way, ICW's definitely coming to the network. Like, no chance. I think it was next again day. I was like,
yeah.
And then.
So we'll get into the details since it's that, but we knew for quite a long time before that. So if you thought 2 years was a long time to be speculating about it,
8 years ago.
Imagine how tense we were getting about it.
Simon, you're a new announcer, and we're going to network 6 years later.
But no, I remember it was literally just like one random Wednesday. I got a text off Regis saying, by the way, don't tell anybody it's going to announce tomorrow, but they're putting Shock's House Party up on the network on Saturday. I was like, sorry, what? I was like, yeah, just Saturday. They're just doing it. It's going live. I was, what's the plan after that? And he went, don't know, still figuring that out. But my one frustration is that obviously we're now back to doing the tapings, or at least were before lockdown, the third or whatever we're currently in. My only frustration is when we were doing tapings last year, I was actually in quite good shape and I'd lost quite a lot of weight. Then lockdown happened, and I think I got like 3 days notice of, by the way, we're doing some tapings this weekend. If you can come in and do some voiceovers, like we'll walk you through the whole COVID thing. And there was a genuine of, I do not think my suit still fits me. like I literally went and bought a new suit. So I was just like, this is now officially a network taping.
Yes.
So I can't show up going, just hold.
They do Shawn Michaels post.
Oh, that was not an option. Like, I think I've aged like 7 years in the last year. I went into lockdown as a 30-year-old. I think I'm about 46 now.
Right, I'm going to do what I always do. This has been a lot of fun, but I'm going to bring it back down to earth, to a screeching halt, and talk about COVID, because it's unavoidable. Let's have a proper chat about COVID. Obviously, it's ravaged the wrestling industry.
There's not been enough worldwide plague in this podcast.
You know what this is missing?
Next topic, we're going to talk about Trump.
First up, COVID, then Ebola.
Spanish flu's in there.
If anyone has any thoughts on Disease X, please save it for any other business.
Next week's a top 5 viruses countdown. How has it personally affected you? Like, and obviously ICW as a man on the inside. What's it been like adjusting to all the new protocols, procedures? What's it like being around the guys backstage? Has it really affected sort of like your day-to-day interactions with each other, or is it just pretty much business as usual, wear a mask?
So it's not even remotely close to business as usual. So for context, it's like, without getting into all the details, because I don't have them all, frankly. But it's quite a strict bubble system. And once you're in your bubble, you can't leave. So there was like a full weekend I was there for tapings, and for context, I basically came into contact with no one. Like, I wasn't even in the ring. Like, you kind of see tapings, like, I'm outside, I'm at a wee table, I've got a mask on, hand sanitizer. I got up to take the mask off to do the announcement, like 20 feet away from everyone, and then you sit back down, and it's absolutely surreal. So there's not really that same, well, there's no real kind of mixing backstage or speaking to the guys, and like, it's great to be back, but you do spend the whole time going, this is nuts.
Yeah.
So you lost that social aspect of it as well, haven't you?
To a certain
Like,
degree,
mixing with each other and
yeah, and I think that was one of the things. Like, one of the best things about wrestling is the people you meet in it, and the kind of like the journeys on the road, like the stories and the like coming back from something at 1 a.m, just talking utter nonsense to keep each other amused. Like, some of the things I couldn't even put into words what we were talking about. But you look back and go, we've been laughing for 3 hours and I don't remember what. So like, you've definitely lost that aspect of it, because it's now very much be here at this time. You can only interact with this person. Do not come backstage. If you need to go to the toilet, that is your one over there. That kind of setup. So it is quite surreal, but at the same time, you do look at it and go, the amount of work and dedication that went into making the tapings happen and kind of making them safe and actually getting that content out there, and basically being the first ones outside of WWE and AEW to come back.
Exactly.
Is unbelievable.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things that was, I think the first weekend taping was, there's going to be quite a lot taped, because we don't know if we'll be allowed to do this
6 months away
anytime soon. So it was kind of, you're trying to do an awful lot of content while simultaneously no one can really interact with other people. So like, you kind of had to, I think the team had to think like 6 months in advance of who's going to be working who and what day can we get all of those people in to do this safe. So I think logistically it's been unbelievable.
Telling you.
Was there any trepidation? Were there any guys or girls that were worried about coming back?
I think so. I would imagine quite a lot of people were quite nervous about it. Purely because, well, look out the window.
Yeah.
Truth be told, I had slightly less nerves about it. Partial because I knew I was basically going to be by myself.
Yeah.
And realistically, I wasn't really a risk to anyone. No one was really a risk to me. Like, even if they hadn't had the protocols in place, I don't really come into contact with guys anyway.
Yeah.
And also, without getting into my other job away from wrestling, which I won't give all details of, I've never stopped working.
Yeah.
Ironically, I've never been busier. So, it didn't really feel like the same kind of not been out of the house aspect to me. Whereas I think an awful lot of people who have they haven't been in shows, they've basically been in their house for 6 months. I think that aspect of suddenly, right, we're back, was slightly daunting.
Yeah.
But the way they've done it and the way they've kept everyone safe has been amazing.
Definitely. Big shout out to the company for doing it. Anyone, to be honest, who's managed to do it at this time.
But obviously, nobody knows when we're actually allowed to do it again. So,
no, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. We're only a few months away, but you don't know. But I'll bring it back from the misery. Cheers, Steve.
You're welcome.
I will say at I was at a bit of the last set of tapings, and not to overplug, but you have something very, very, very good coming in the next few weeks.
Yes, we'll clip that for Twitter, please. Thank you very much.
And you stay on the call when we finish, pal, and we'll speak a bit more about that, mate.
Yeah, spoilers, please. Spoilers.
There's some very special things coming very soon.
Amazing. Well, going on to the future, what does the future, not of just ICW, but what does the future look like for yourself? Have you got goals in mind? What anything like that?
it's kind of hard to say right now, just because you don't know where it's going to be. So, like at the start of 2020, it actually came up in my timeline the other day. You know, things like you can basically hear the narrator going, "Well, that didn't age well." And I've got up a big thing about how, you know, I'd been building One Fall Media, and I was cutting back hours in my other job, and I was going to be running more shows. I was going to be doing the One Fall sessions every once a month, and big shows once a quarter. I was going to be running a show in Edinburgh. I had my kind of conspiracy show that was happening on the side. I was doing kind of social media training for people. I was doing freelance PR and consultancy, and it was like, yep, cutting down hours. I'm launching my company. 2020. I think the last line was 2020. Bring it on. And it's just like,
so it's your fault. That's what you say.
I think I literally got a month and a half into that plan, and just everything shut down. The night national lockdown was announced, was meant to be a One Fall session in a brand new venue with DCT, and it was like literally the week before we were on chat. I'm going, do we just cancel the show? This is probably going to get cancelled. Tell you what, we'll limit the numbers first. So we put a thing saying only 40 people are going to be allowed to come. So we're closing ticket sales, and that's us. Safe. And then literally, I think by the Wednesday, it was, I think we need to cancel this show. And then I think we cancelled on the Thursday, and then obviously Monday, everybody was told to go indoors. So it's kind of hard to imagine how things are going to play out. Ideally, I would love to get back to that, because the plan was always to kind of make this the full-time gig, and announcing was just been a part of what I was doing. So hopefully get back to that at some stage. Obviously, everybody wants to work for WWE. So if there ever was a capacity there to be involved in any way, I'm open to that. to that suggestion.
We'll clip that as well. Tag NXT UK in that one, and we'll go from there. No, thank you so much, Simon, for coming on, mate.
I was going to say one thing. What we did do is we asked anybody who had any viewers or listeners and that any questions, and we Westy, by the way, out to Westy, fantastic, we listener, we've got going on there. Yeah. They were asking, when the world gets back to normal, who would you have in mind, and who would most likely be a guest for your One Fall session?
Well, I think at first it kind of has to be DCT, because technically we postponed the event. So I think an awful lot of people have actually still bought tickets.
Gotta go ahead then, haven't you, at some point?
It's one of those things, I need to speak to Ringside World, because I think at what point do you go, I think we just refund everyone, and but no one's kind of chased it. So it's not like I've got the money. It's sitting in the ticket account somewhere. So everyone's still welcome to come. We just, at this rate, it'll be 2024.
I bloody hope not.
So I reckon we should get that one out of the way first. Ideal guess. I don't know, to be honest. I guess if you were going like anyone in the world, like, oh, okay, I'll have The Undertaker, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
That's our list, isn't it, lads?
And Vince McMahon.
That's next week's guest.
Realistically, I think getting back, it would be obviously great to have DCT on, because he disappeared to Australia for a year, and we're planning to come back and run through all that, and never got to do it. But to us, just kind of having a lot of the regulars that have been on the show a lot back on.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of initially that's kind of what made it such a big thing. So I think when we first went back, just getting the gang back together for a run would be great.
And what is your own personal wrestling highlights of 2020 during the pandemic? And who would you like to win, or most like to see win this year's Royal Rumble? That's from Westy as well.
Oh, 2020 highlight has to be Drew winning the belt at WrestleMania. I mean, come on.
Yeah, 100% agree.
I think it was everyone's.
Yeah,
I think if you for Edge returning is a highlight, but from everything about Drew, talking Scottish, ICW, Rangers fan, it would be Drew winning. It would be Drew winning the title. It would be.
I think the fact that man is so talented that he managed to make an unforgettable WrestleMania moment with no one in the building.
Yep.
It's like the shot of reaching out to the camera, that's going to be in every WrestleMania clip forever.
Yeah.
That's
And
unbelievable.
it was so cool to learn that he wasn't meant to have done that.
Yeah, he thought it was going to get clipped, didn't he?
He thought he was going to get not put it on, but that was brilliant. And it was so good that even Bradley Walsh had to do a question about it on the chase. I don't know if you've seen that at all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But when in the Royal Rumble,
We'll take one of each, male, female.
I would out of left field one for the women's Rumble is I would love to see Billy Kay win it.
Yeah, that's how I would spell.
Yeah.
Billy Kay is my favourite.
Purely because
Any excuse for her to be on TV.
Yeah, because she's just absolute gold. Although someone did point out the other day that something I thought about that the Iconics are going to meet in the Rumble at some point.
Yeah.
And it was like, I still don't know why they broke them up. They were so good together. They were money.
Especially with wrestling, women's wrestling tag team right now, it just doesn't make sense. They need legit teams together.
Yeah, but so I go out left field. I would like to see Billy Kay win the women's Rumble. Men's, I would actually love to see Big E win it.
You've got a fan here then. Simon. You've got a fan here.
Oh yes, yes. I assumed he was going to lose the Intercontinental title the other night so that he could go on to win. There's still another episode of SmackDown. It could happen. I think if he loses the title next week, he's winning the Rumble.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it.
It's a strange one because you usually kind of get a sense for who they're kind of building towards, but it feels very wide open this year.
Yeah.
My pick's still AJ Styles. I still think.
Mine's Daniel Bryan still.
Daniel
mine's Seth Rollins.
He'll come back, but I think
comes back at number 30.
Either that or seeing Edge win it would be
be amazing.
It'd be special, wouldn't it? Really special.
Or in fact, Cesaro.
There you go.
Let Cesaro win it.
Or Nakamura, or Jey Uso,
or any of them. The list is endless.
I would like to see Big E win it because I think it would be a kind of logical progression of his kind of singles run to go against Roman at Mania. So those are some weird picks for the Rumble.
I was just saying that 12 months ago, by the way.
I know. Says a lot when Daniel Bryan's now writing on SmackDown, doesn't it? The change as well.
And notice the difference in the show. Like, the guys, he seems to have an understanding of wrestling that I don't know if anyone else can replicate. It's wild.
Yeah, totally agree. SmackDown is way ahead of everybody else right now, I think, in my opinion. I think it's number one show on telly for me.
With the notable exception of Insane Championship Wrestling Fight Club, which you can watch every Saturday at 5 p.m. on the WWE Network.
Yeah.
Hey, really?
Our first proper plug. I like it.
I love a cheap plug more than B&Q.
Next week's guest, normally I'll announce it, but what we're going to do this week is seeing as one of Simon's friends from ICW. Simon, would it be okay for yourself to announce who we're going to have on It's Our House Pod next week, please?
Absolutely. So I am led to believe that next week you're going to have the maestro of the mat. I've lost it. Ladies and gentlemen, next week, my close personal friend, Thomas Kearns, will be on the show.
He will.
Looking forward to that. It's been the first time we're going to have a referee on as well, so it'll be nice to see the different ways of how wrestling's perceived. We've obviously had yourself on, Simon, the announcer. We've had Billy on from commentary. We've had many different guests from the wrestling scene, but we've not had one from the referee's point of view, which we're really much looking forward to see because they are the unsung heroes, I feel, in the ring.
Like, both Thomas Kearns and Sean McLaughlin are, in my opinion, the two best referees in the UK.
Yeah, by far.
I think how regularly they work and the consistency of their work is on a level that other people don't have. And that's not disrespect to anyone else, but I just think the experience they bring to the table is a different level. And yeah, Thomas should have some good stories.
Yes.
Well, he's now looking at. He's now in the NXT UK scene as well, so it'll be interesting to see what there as well. So just shows you the talent the man has. So very much looking forward to next week. So thank you for that, Simon.
Yes.
No problem. Yeah,
Simon. Before you go, is there anything you want to plug apart from ICW, of course? Anything for yourself?
Nothing's happening.
Twitter handle, Instagram, anything.
I've got follow at Simon_Cassidy1 because somebody else got the name, so I had to add a 1. But at Simon_Cassidy1 on all social media, and you'll find me there. And there is a one fall session that is still on sale, which will take place sometime between now and 2030.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much for having me, guys. That was great fun.
It was
Thank
great,
you.
yeah.
Simon, take care, man.
You
Right.
take care of yourself,
All the
buddy.
best. Thank you,
Cheers,
man.
guys. Thank you. Bye.
So ICW boys, that was another great interview.
Brilliant again.
Really nice guy. Really nice guy, Simon is, by the way. Really nice guy.
Yeah, I think everyone we've spoken to from ICW, you can just see the passion and the drive they've got for the business, can't you?
And now you see what I'm talking about.
Yes.
No egos, no arrogance, nothing.
No.
No.
Stuart keeps all that for them. Yeah, so we'll look forward to that next week. But before we go, I'll just give another shout out to our sponsor. That's wrestlinpins.bigcartel.com. That's wrestlinpins, WRASSLIN pins.bigcartel.com. They have pins such as Bret Hart, The Ultimate Warrior, The Undertaker, Razor Ramon, and they're planning much more over the next couple of months. So head on over to all their social media or the website itself. That's wrestlingpins.bigcartel.com. Add IOHPod15 for 15% off your order. That's IOHPod15 for 15% off your order. So before we go, guys, anything you want to say? Anything you want to talk about?
No.
No, I don't think
It was good episode, wasn't it?
No.
Yeah, really good
We've
episode.
No.
I have to say, we have recorded a wee nice episode that will be coming out near
WrestleMania scene.
WrestleMania 17.
Yeah.
So if anyone's still listening now, I've actually been getting a few, not requests as such, but people asking, what, discuss this, discuss that. Guys, if any of you got any tips, because we love speaking to guests, but we love speaking to each other as well. We have fun doing that. We had really good fun.
He says love, but...
Oh, you're a fucking arsehole, but that's not the point. We really, I personally really enjoy breaking down WrestleMania 17 and talking about it. If there's anything that you have that you would love for us to discuss, then please let us know.
Yep.
And we will obviously take everything on board, and most likely we will go ahead with it. So anything wrestling, anything at all, to be honest. If it does not wrestling, any movies or anything like that, then just let us know. That's what I'll do.
Yeah, definitely head on over to all our social media, follow us, subscribe, all that stuff. Leave us a comment, thumbs up, 5-star review, all that. So, Deej, do you want to give your social media plug? I mean, it should be on the screen.
Don't need to anymore.
It should be on the screen at this point.
Don't need to anymore, but it's just here somewhere.
It should be just here.
Not sure.
But if it's not, it's at PWCDs and at slawson1417 and at thoughts. So head on over and like us all. So it's been a pleasure, guys, and I can't wait to speak to you next week. So take it easy.
Take it easy, guys.